Okay, so something else I discovered on candy corn. That's another tip for us candy corn people.
Okay.
Because I'm hoping there's more than just me who's loving candy corn.
Well, the Baxter's not on there to tell us how wonderful hers is going.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, I'm really enjoying this. However, I have to tell you, remember how I said sometimes you should put the iron on and sometimes you don't need to?
Hold on a second.
'Cause you-
Jolene says wonderful. How did I not know that wonderful has glow in the dark? I'm calling A tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, Jolene, this is why we have to stick together.
Well, I know that
Right? Yes.
that
Oh, but
Superior
she
made
didn't.
it.
Yeah.
I did, but in the Superior is
Okay.
what I used to get in the past, but it was expensive. I'll call it Wonderful tomorrow.
When you go to do the hoop-de-doos, back them. Because it's a light fabric going over some pretty dark backgrounds. And if you don't put this back iron on, SF101 or Kimberbell's version, on the back of it, it will show through. And it won't be as pretty. So this is the case where I definitely will back them. What?
I'm just reading the comments.
Jean's sucking up.
Oh.
I
The
have
other
a feeling
tip
there's a
on
lot
your
of sarcasm
backing,
in that
on
statement.
the backing, the other thing, I don't know where I am, Eddie, anymore. There, that'll work. Is see how this isn't even one piece of batting. I mean, I actually use scraps of backing. As long as you butt them up, you're good to go. You don't have to say, oh, I need a 4x4 piece. No, I save all my little scraps and just iron them on after. You'll never see that they were all pieced together on the back. So this is for frugal people like Danny. Okay, so that's
So
that.
so they just back your white fabrics before you put them on?
Yes,
Yep.
yes. But I did not, now I'll get to what I was really going to get to. I did not with the tombstones. And I'm telling you, if you haven't done your tombstones, or if you're Becky and you're going to redo your tombstones, put the backing on your tombstones. In this case, it doesn't show through, but if you look really, really close, Brent, look at those satin stitches.
Which they probably look perfect to Brent.
No, they're almost tearing my fabric. There's so many of them. They are so dense. There are so many holes in the fabric. Can we get that close up? I don't know that we can, if you guys are going to be able to see it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
That's a surprise.
see it? Oh, Becky, you almost had it. See those holes, guys? There, it shows on the camera. See all those holes? Punch, 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 punch. No? Nobody else sees that? Look at right next to the satin stitches where the light gray is. Punch, 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 punch. There's almost no fabric between those holes. It's almost a clean cut through my gray fabric. Look how little space there is between each of those needle holes.
Yeah,
That ain't gonna last.
the space between the needle holes is exactly one width of the thread.
Were you in a
Look at that. No. So those who use a bigger needle, your tombstone gonna fall right off. Because this is a size 11.
Okay, this reminds me of a time,
Okay, well,
Somebody
anyway,
that shall-
I would have backed my tombstone.
somebody that shall not be named, that we all love dearly
Okay,
here.
I have to show my fun
You're talking
stuff.
about me.
No. We'll all know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, I'll tell you after.
Okay.
The first time I met her, she came in, and she brought in these immaculate, perfect square, a pinwheel.
Oh,
And she brings it in, and she says, Brent, how do I get this right? And I'm looking at the pinwheel, and it was maybe off a 32nd of an inch, less than that. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's off, and she's pointing at the center.
oh, that's what I would do.
And I'm just like, I didn't see it, but I'm like, well, just iron it a little more is all I could say.
Oh,
And that was the first time I had met her.
oh, they're right here.
And then I learned, and like I said, I love her dearly. She quilts way different. Where most of us will like piece stuff together, put a bunch of squares together, and then,
Well, I
piece
know
a bunch
you're not
of that.
talking about me, because
Yeah.
I didn't come
No,
in
she
and
will
see.
make
I
she'll-
will never ask you how to make
She
a
will-
pinwheel.
She will take a pinwheel, instead of chain piecing it, she'll make an individual pinwheel, sew one seam, get up, iron it, come back, sew the other seam, and iron it.
I'm sorry, whoever you are, that is picking on you, but I
I'm
bet
not-
your work is
Well, the
pretty
way
good.
I learned this is that she was having somebody help her, and she was trying to chain stitch, and she's like, she won't let me chain stitch. I have to iron it.
Oh, I do chain stitch, I do. But,
Oh.
I gotta show you a trick.
But anyway,
Yeah. Ronnie, this one's for you. So I was complaining that now I'm gonna probably make it with other threads. So, yes,
On the back, now, to secure the quilt for when it gets washed.
Oh, you mean because of my holes? That's when I would have put on the gray fabric, this fabric, I would have backed it with 101 before I embroidered it, and it would give it more stability.
Now, could that also be related to holes that you're worried about, which I didn't really see?
So Becky, what would you do about the holes if using a size 11 needle? I would back my gray fabric with 101 or Kimberbell's fusible backing prior to embroidering it.
Now,
That gives it more stability, so I wouldn't worry about it falling apart. Now that's what I want to show. Stop.
well, no, what I
Oh,
want
you look at it.
I
Look
wanna
what
see
I
something.
did. Look what I did.
That's yours.
This is mine.
I love it.
This is mine. Remember it used to look like this?
Oh, okay.
See how clean that gravestone is? And I'm like, who the heck has a gravestone that clean?
Yeah.
Nobody. And I said, I would have gone out and bought some different fabric. And I said, well, I'm not going to remake them. So I made it rustic. Isn't that prettier than this?
It is.
And this is how you do it. Oops, I shouldn't hold out the tool paper package. Crayola crayons.
What?
And it's permanent when it's done. You want to
Yes.
see how I do it?
And
Brent, I'm trusting you to do one. You screw this up.
Well, I was just going to say something. Now, this trick, I've seen this trick before.
It's not a trick.
I know that it only works with
technique.
Crayola. I don't know that it works with all crayons because
Here's-
it's going to be different.
Here's why I recommend Crayola. I actually tested some cheesy crayons.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is they have a higher wax content and less dye content. So I highly recommend Crayola.
Yeah, I would.
Because you're going to see how we remove the wax and set the dye. That's the secret to
Yes.
these working. So I would not use other crayons. I would use, and don't use washable Crayolas, people. Use the crayon that, I have my own special set of 64s that the kids aren't allowed to touch.
My mom had that too, and I never understood. It's like, Mom, why do you have crayons?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to, as we go on,
No,
I got to bring in some more stuff I've done with crayons, because Tina, I know, Becky likes the color. I've never outgrown coloring. I do.
Does Tina pick
So,
on you? She's like,
She
oh,
all the time.
look at the kitten wrist.
Watch how
coloring."
easy this is. Yes, she does all the time. So I picked out a couple colors, Brent. One's black, one's called outer space, which means it's a dark gray. I also have a midnight blue in case I wanted to add a little blue tones, and I have a brown shadowy color. Now the technique is not to use it like a crayon in this case, because I want to come up with, I'm going to put this one beside me. I want to come up with rustic texture. I don't want to color it all in. So I'm going to take black, if I can find it. The black. I'm going to use the butt of the crayon. Because,
The butt of the crayon?
yeah. Because I want to rub it.
That's what she said.
So watch how significantly easy this is.
There's so much I want to say right
Yeah,
now.
well,
I'm
you
just
go
gonna
ahead.
let it go.
Like, I thought this automatically deserved more shadowing. Now, this is a case where I might not have used the butt, but I'm going to today. And I'm literally just scribbling.
When you can, you must use the butt.
I prefer the butt. One, because it has a sharp edge on it.
Now, as Jean said earlier,
Or
make
it has
sure
a flat end on it.
you only touch the butt, don't push it.
I'm not pushing. I'm rubbing very lightly. So watch. Because there's texture in the fabric, it automatically just does its thing. And then watch this. If I want to show lines, there's the crack of the butt. And if I want to say, now this I might point, this is my outer space, it's a dark gray, so I might get a little rougher in the middle there if I wanted to do some shadowing.
Go for it.
Do it. Getting rough with the butt.
Don't get on my green, I'll be mad at you. So,
Can't believe she's letting me.
I can't believe I am either, but I am. Can we see Brent coloring? Brent, use the butt. See, you're not paying attention.
I was trying to get a different effect. Okay, I'll use the butt.
This is my quilt. Don't press too hard. because you can always go back and add more.
He's a big burly
Oopsie,
man.
I just did, see what happened? I didn't use my butt. And see what happened? See, it's a much different effect. I like just scratching the butt.
Sometimes I think we should have Brian here to offer commentary when you're.
Oh, you don't want him here.
Does he watch the show?
He doesn't. Once in a great while. He watches me watch the show. I'll actually watch the show later, and he'll come by and go, oh, but not, now,
Please subscribe.
no, he is not. And he should be, right? And none of my family.
How dare you?
I think Adrienne is the only one that's subscribed.
Ascribed?
Scribe. So now when you add different colors, you're getting that more realistic thing. So you can get very, see how I'm using the butt to get,
The butt is a nice, that's a
I'm
nice,
telling you.
that's a good tip, use the
Because
butt.
you see the texture start to appear.
This would have been a great drinking game every time you said butt.
Well, at least we're not talking about touching the tip.
All I can see is your head, Becky.
Oh, sorry. But how easy is that? And how fun is that?
I could color fabric all day.
I'm telling you, it's too much fun. Any applique you can do this with.
Okay.
Now we need to set it so it's permanent.
That was
How
my
does that,
next
is
question.
that acceptable?
Actually, I'm going to look at Brent's. It's beautiful. Is that showing? That's not showing up enough, Ed. Let's get a close-up of this one because it's really well done.
I got skills, I can color.
Look at, even Brent can do it.
Wow.
Don't ask him to put points together in a pinwheel.
But
Well, now I can color the points.
Isn't that amazing? Oh, I gotta fix a thread, I see. Well, I'll do that later. Okay, so here's how easy, Brent, I'll actually use that. Nicely done.
I'm almost
Isn't
gonna,
it fun?
I'm beclout, you're gonna use my,
I know. Isn't it
my
fun
block.
though?
It is, I can totally see how, yeah.
It's cool, right? So now you put this paper towel, this is a single layer of paper towel. Its only purpose is to absorb the wax. So your iron's gotta be hot enough to melt crayon. What you don't wanna do is pick up the wax and then use and move this over and over again because when it's picking up wax, it's picking up some dye as well. And you don't wanna keep moving that around to places you don't want it. So you just basically, it doesn't take long either.
You know, as kids, we once went through a whole box of crayons.
I was going to say, I'll show you how fast
Melting them on a radiator.
there's actually people who color fabric using melted crayons. Have you seen any of those videos?
No.
Oh my God, see it? Not these.
All I can remember is just sitting by the
They
radiator on
actually
like cold winter
color
days and
quilts, melting crayons ahead of time. It's amazing. But I wanted the rustic rubbing look. So look, that's it. That's it.
Rubbing
Now,
butts.
what you're going to see when I pick this up is you will see, hopefully, you will see a little bit of, yep. See how there's residue on my towel? Do you see the residue on my paper towel?
See
Is
a
that
little bit
showing
of
up, Eddie?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's do a
guess so.
close-up, because it's there, which is why I'm not going to reuse this towel. Oh, that doesn't show up at all.
Yep.
There it go. Oh,
Yeah.
see, there it is. Did you see it?
There it is.
There it is. See it?
Yeah.
See that gray yucky yuck?
Yeah.
That's wax and some dye.
I'm a talented butt artist.
Da-da-da, ready to wash.
That wasn't yours.
That's it. It's permanent.
Mine is here.
I know she didn't do that.
Oh, well,
I
let's
know,
do
but
it now. I got
just been
another
called a
paper.
talented butt artist.
I
and
got
I'm very
another
excited about
paper
this.
towel. Let's do yours. That's it. You're done.
Well, let's see Brent.
You're done. Now imagine the things you can use this technique on, especially the 64 box of crayons.
You get all sorts of colors.
Yeah, it just
Now-
makes such a huge difference to something that looked flat.
Now, my question is, you've done a lot of this.
I've done
Well-
a whole doodle quit. That's Ronnie. That's why I said this one's for Ronnie. She's eyed my doodles.
Now, those brighter colors, is the brightness of the colors gonna transfer, or are you gonna get a little bit of a washout when you set the dye?
No washout.
Okay.
No washout. No washout.
So the actual color of the crayon is gonna,
It's this dye. It's
Yeah.
the color of the crayon is what you're going to get.
okay.
There are other products, and
Now-
I'll feel free to demo those too
Now,
with
my
watercolor
other question would
pencils.
be,
They get
how
more
does-
intense.
Does the background color of the fabric affect the finished color of your,
Well, it will, just
Okay.
like if you color on a white piece of paper versus a gray piece of paper.
because I've done this a couple times in the past, and when I do it, it just didn't seem as vibrant as it.
Well,
would've
I was
liked.
doing a black or a gray,
Yeah.
but on my doodle quilt, they are white blocks. so
Okay.
colors look
'Cause the
very,
time I did, I think it
very,
was-
very true on white.
Now, then my other
Again, see the cut that came off?
then my other question would also be when you're
That
doing
means
this,
I did a good job.
if you
And there it
did-
is.
If you did like muslin with a looser weave, is that also gonna affect maybe the color transfer because?
I don't think it'll affect the color transfer, but it will affect the overall color, because muslin, unless it's a bleached
Yeah,
muslin,
okay.
it will be white,
I'm just
so
curious,
you'd be
yeah.
okay. It's mostly just the color
I'm
behind
asking all these
it.
questions, I'm probably never gonna do this again.
Oh, I don't know, I'm gonna do it. I just think it made such a huge
It does.
difference.
It does make a
The
difference.
difference is night and day, and it
Yeah.
didn't take much at all to do it.
No.
It really gives it a
No.
whole different look.
And the application, I see people who applique without the applique, they just do the outline stitching,
Mhm.
and then they take their crayons and color it in, and not put fabric in it at all.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
or pencils, but today it was crayons. But anyway, so that's that. That's
Okay.
how I fixed my gravestones, and now I'm happy with them. Love that. Okay, I want you to do me a favor and stick this in the bobbin for me.
The bobbin.
We had,
Is that washable?
oh,
Oh, I gotta fix this.
Just checking.
it's fusible.
Oh, my goodness. Did you buy some?
It's fusible. I am not to the background on Nebula, but I know some people are, and they've been having little cows over getting their points to line up.
What do you call a little cow? Because it's not like a horse where it's a pony.
Calves.
Yeah, no, but like a pony is not like a baby
And-
horse. It's just a pony. Is there like a move, like a little miniature cow? Would be like a cute little name for it?
Okay, I don't know. One of the
These are
reasons the
questions I have.
background is so difficult is there are a lot of points. Eddie, can I do a top-down now? But not only are there a lot of points, some of them are like, how do I line this up kind of point. For example, if I look at this point right here, it's pretty obvious where this intersection is where I'm going to put my pin or set my needle. We'll talk more about that later. But it's obvious where my intersection is. This one is not so obvious where the intersection is. I know it's going to be a 1/4 inch down from the edge because I'm sewing it with a 1/4 inch seam. If you look over here, I have 2 of these not obvious ones. And one of these not obvious ones has to match one that's obvious. That is what is full of the background on this beautiful, I'll show off the nebula quilt one more time, on this beautiful nebula quilt. All of this background are diamonds, all of them. And there are a zillion little points that you have to match up.
I've been on that Facebook group, and it's kind of funny how many people are like, I'm making a throw.
Well, I'm not going to, and I know several people in our group are not going to.
Yeah.
But you've gotten this far dealing with points, so you don't want to give up. It's not that difficult. It is more time consuming, but it is not difficult.
I always remember when.
And I was in, oh, go ahead.
There was, we years ago we did a block of the month. It was Judy,
Judy Neiman.
not Judy Nehemiah, it was the other one. Anyway, it was this really complicated block of the month that you should have done paper piecing because it was that.
Oh, I would have loved it.
Yeah, but instead, my mom was like, we're going to piece it. And so you can imagine a pattern that was pieced that should have been paper pieced,
Yeah,
what
that
kind
would
of
be difficult.
nightmare that is.
That would have been difficult.
And this was Winnie's very first quilt.
Oh.
And
That was Judy Neimeyer.
that was not.
Was it?
No, it wasn't Judy. It was the other one. She designed for RJR. It was I can't remember. Might have been Niemeyer. But anyway, so it was her very first quilt, and she hated the thing. She hated quilt, and but she wouldn't give up. She was very stubborn. And then after she got it done, she loved the quilt because she just anything she made was easy. It was like
Well, that's
I love
true
the
too,
quilt
but-
because nothing is as hard as the first thing I did.
Well,
I don't think I think a lot of people didn't finish it. It was just one of those awful quilts.
Well, if it
But
gets
I
that
thought we
awful, I'm
paper
not going to
pieced
finish
it.
it.
I
There was a
pieced
paper
it.
piece version of it, but she did the
Oh, she
piecing
did
version.
the other one?
Yep.
Okay, can we go top down again?
I'm sorry,
He's-
that was-
He's on this forever, and I
I'm
got
sorry,
stuff
that
I
was
got to
a-
cover,
I
okay?
totally-
I got to save my people. This is the other half of this block. So as you can see, I have already lined up similar seams, and I'm quite happy with them. And I actually just wrote on it by mistake. That's all right, it's just pencil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no problem, it's pencil. But as you can see, it is doable. And the background is full of this kind of stuff. And that is what is driving people wonky, because there might be 3 or 4 that you have to line up, not just, or 6 or 7, not just 1 or 2. So, normally Becky shows you how to do it with, whoops, I'm gonna
No,
show
now
some
keep in mind,
first.
those that are watching this and not
This
fully.
is true of pinwheels, this is true of these.
Yes, but keep in mind,
This
it's.
is technique is good for any points.
But if you're not following this because you haven't done these angled points before, the fact that they're not straight lines, if those seams aren't lined up properly, you're going to get some wonkiness in the seam because they're not directly across from each other like
They're
you're
not.
normally doing.
They're not like nested squares.
Yeah, if you all you ever do is squares, that's just so a 1/4 inch and you're good to go because the seams overlap each
This
other.
works anytime you need to match up points, period. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take my nifty little
Think about a
ruler,
ring one.
and I'm going to place it, I'm going just barely a 1/4 inch in. And when I say barely, I know I'm gonna lose some space when I iron it open, so I'm not gonna line it up exactly. Okay, I'm gonna give me a little, what do they call it, the
Scant 1/4 inch.
the scant. Or you can
And
line
Gail,
it
if you're
up
watching, you
at-
don't need to worry about the scant.
or you can just line it up and do the scant on the machine. But anyway, what my purpose of doing this with a very thin pencil, my purpose on doing this is to tell my eye, let my eye exactly know where I'm going to do some lining up. Does those lines show up, Eddie? Are those lines? I don't want to do it too dark because this is real. Oh,
He's gonna
I
work his
can,
magic.
if I do it dark, does that help people
Well,
see?
he had it down on the table there for a minute.
No, he didn't. Oh, he did?
Yeah, but then
Oh. Then I what?
I was seeing it.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
See
right
my
there.
pencil
That little
lines?
pencil line right there,
See
yeah.
how I have little pencil lines?
Itty
That-
bitty
to help
pencil
my
line.
eye. I cannot, some people can guesstimate the 1/4 inch and be right on, like I'm sure Brenda can, but I can't. I need a visual. I need a visual. So I need a visual on the right side of one, and I need a visual on the wrong side of the other one. Because what's going to happen is we're going to have to match them up like this. Okay? So what I'm going to do on this one is the same idea, but I'm doing this on the wrong side of the fabric.
But on the same seam
Same
line.
seam line. I'm doing the 1/4 inch. I'm going to do it over here so they're not on top of each other. I'm taking this one and I'm taking my pencil and my ruler again, and I'm giving me that visual intersection. I now know exactly where I'm supposed to meet up. Okay? Eddie, I'm going to hold this up again so they can see these.
Meet up or sew?
I'm going to show you in a second. There. See?
Meet up, isn't that like an app?
It's going to be both when we're done.
That's how Gail
See,
and I
see
met.
that, guys? See, now I know that I've taken the guesswork out of where that pin needs to go. Right?
Yep, so you're
Okay,
saying
now watch
that,
this.
that intersection of that 1/4 inch and that seam,
Mm-hmm.
that point, if you line it up on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
when you fold it out, will give you
Well,
a perfect point.
One of the things I want to make sure you understand is on this one, I went by the point. I didn't even care if that was truly a 1/4 inch. I fudged and made sure my line is going to be, that point is what I'm shooting for.
And that's gonna
So if you have a wonky cut, I'm not looking at the edge. This is a point I can define perfectly
Because-
by my piecing.
because that's the point you want to save.
Yes.
Oh, in?
I got something for you. So now I'm going to take it, I'm going to pin in the intersection of my pencil mark
Yeah?
in my seam line. Without that pencil mark, I wouldn't know where to put this pin. I could guess, but I wouldn't know for sure. And I always check this side. Yep, it's perfect. It's coming right out of the seam. Boop, doop, doop. And then I want it to go right in the exact top of that perfect one. Oops, come on, Becky. You can do it.
And
You can
I'm
do
going to
it.
point out that she's doing this on a wool mat
A
so she
wool
she can
mat.
stab right through everything.
And the next thing is important is that this pin is straight. Now, I used to do them from the underside up, so I knew my pins were straight, but you all had heart attacks, so I'm trying to not do it that way.
Oh, that just sounds like it's going to end badly.
And that was what you said. So,
Oh.
so look at that, pin's in there, it's nice and tidy. I know that's okay. And if I don't believe it, I can peek. Oh, boy, that looks good. Now, that is a point, that line is important right there, okay? That tells me there's a point there you don't want to give up. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to say that for every time I see a pencil line. Now I'm coming in this one, and I'm coming in the seam and in the pencil, and guess what? Here's one where I don't have to guess, because I drew me a line. Right? I'm just going to stick it right in there. Right in that seam, right in that line. Is that showing? Can y'all see what I'm doing? Oh, damn. Damn, I'm going right in that little, ooh, there you go, Danny. Ooh. Almost, almost.
Yeah.
I'm going right in, and I'm going to go straight down. It's important to go straight down. Oops, I just moved my pen. I'll have to double check it. That's okay, I can. And then I can double check. Oh, yes, it's right on the money. Okay, so you can even double check. Now, here comes the fun part. In the olden days, if I had more of these to do, I would keep doing it. I'd use a longer wool mat. The other thing I know that's important, and so Becky likes to take care of it while I'm here, is that these ends match. So I actually end up doing something like this. Meow.
Do you make noises like this at home when you're by yourself?
I make lots of noises at home when I'm by myself.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one that did that.
So you're just pinning that right across on your wool mat.
On my wool mat. That's what I'm doing. Now, in the olden days, like a week ago, I would have taken, oh, my tip broke. I think it's,
That's what she says.
I think it's pushed into my bottle.
Well,
It had a rough
I
ride.
mean, all that butt touching you were doing.
I think it's probably on the inside of my nozzle. Yep, there it is. Yep. Let's just push that puppy
Oop,
out.
there it is.
Am I? Oh, no, I
It might
can't
be.
push it out. It's glued in. That's okay, because in the olden days, I would have taken my little Elmer's glue, watered down glue bottle, and I would have glued, and then that's it. But not in today's world.
No, what are we gonna do today?
Not a week later,
What's that?
not a week later.
Oh, actually, I would have done the step
Okay.
first, but I'm going to show you. When I first said this, I said, Brent, can you get that out for a minute? I'm
You just
gonna-
had me put it
Why
in.
you care how my brain evolves, I don't know, but this is how my brain evolved. I said, hey, I got fusible thread. I can cut off a piece of fusible thread. I know I brought my snips.
Snippy snip snip. You could just bite it, you know.
No, I know I brought them. I think I used them already.
I mean, there's the bag that they go in right there.
I know, when I put my crayons in it. Can I have a pair of snips?
Oh, sure.
I knew it! Oh, I found him. I found him. I knew as soon as I asked for him, I found him. Okay, so I said, oh, I can just, and you can put that back in for
Okay,
me.
now I can put that back
I
in.
can just lay this inside my seam right here, like this, and then press it with my iron, and now that's there. But I went, huh, what would be easier than that? Brent, you ready?
Sure.
What would be easier than that is if before I pin this, I had Brent stitch with fusible thread in the bobbin
Oh my gosh.
from here to here.
From there to there, yes.
From here to
Okay.
here. But the important thing is, Brent, is you're just going to be just on the inside of these little lines.
Yes,
Just on the inside of them.
yes. So that after,
So I don't know if this is going to show when you line this up, but it's important how you line it up. Is that camera on?
we can put it on.
Because it's important. I want to show you how I lined it up.
Are we focused on that, Eddie? Because I know this camera, sometimes the focusing isn't the best. There we go.
When I'm coming down here, there's a width on this 1/4-inch foot, right? There's a width.
There's a width, yeah.
There's a width. This line is going to be against the left side. When I hit this line, against the left side of this 1/4-inch foot.
Okay, so,
So that's what I meant by scant.
yeah, so if you're looking.
You also could just move
if
your
you-
needle over
If you go back to that
once.
view, Eddie, so if you're looking from, let me just see this for a second.
It's okay if it's not.
So if you'll notice, this is the right side of my foot, so And there's my 1/4 inch guide over there, so I'm just gonna line my line up right to the inside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, okay.
So you're just gonna stitch, you don't have to stitch the whole way point to point, but I think it's just easier than cutting your thread. It is. If he screws this up, I'm gonna cry. I don't know. He did so good on the gravestone.
That was coloring though.
Yeah.
We love you, Brent.
I'm gonna show you how easy this technique is, and I've done several with it, and I'm like, oh, why not think of that? Well, you might want to speed it up a tad.
She
Well-
took it off the bat. And now she's stitching
Now, we're only stitching one layer. We
And-
don't actually have it pieced
one.
yet.
Yeah.
No,
So
I'm,
it's just one.
No.
You're just doing one.
Yeah.
yeah, and if I had a lot to do, I would chain this. I would chain this. I just stitch away.
And you're doing it on the back.
Yes, we have the
Because
fusibles on the
It
bottom.
depends. Depends on which piece you're doing, but to me, this is going face down, so I want my
So why
fusible.
don't we get a camera
Get them over
angle?
here to this camera.
Oh, okay.
So now guess what this is? This is a line of glue
Gotcha.
that I stitch with my machine. So if it happens to be in the wrong spot or too far
That's just
out,
good.
no harm, no foul. You melt it and pull it out.
So yeah, so you can see, can we show them the backside with the line of
Sure,
that?
sure.
Well, I thought you were gonna hold it.
I'm not
So
good
you
at
see,
this.
right there.
There
So
we go.
So there's our
Yeah,
line.
you did okay.
and
That's
we-
all right.
And we
It's-
stitched to the, but we wanted.
I would have stitched closer to my lines,
I
Brent,
know.
because I'm going to open my seam when I'm done.
I understand that, but I
So
didn't want to
I
screw up your
would've-
nebula.
Well, you did.
I know.
No, it'll be all right. I can pull this open when it's melted. But the purpose of doing this isn't to have the lines exact. I drew the lines for my pinning.
Yes.
The purpose of this is to give me a line of glue where I need it, easy breezy. And I can just chain stitch. I mean, there's no law that says I can't go the whole way. I can go the whole way if I want. I don't care. Just chain it through. So now is when I line up my little, remember my lines and my intersections? Now I'm pinning into my mat. This is where magic happens. And I'm not happy with that one, so I'm fixing it. Because this is a real quilt, people.
Look at
Okay.
that action shot.
Okay, I like that one. So now I'm coming over here, I'm doing the same thing. See, those lines I drew with my pencil give me exactly where to put them on those areas I wasn't sure of. Without those, you're guessing. So if you do nothing else, draw the lines, is what I'm saying. Draw the lines. If you do nothing else, draw the lines first. Then you know exactly what to shoot for. Now, I like my little ends to line up, even if I have some give and take in there, so that's why you see me doing that. Now, look at that. What do I got?
Everything's lined up and you have some glue on there.
And I got a board
And you're
attached.
already on your wool mat,
I'm
so.
already on my wool mat, and everything is all over the place. So now I'm just going, no, look at me, I'm going between my pins. I'm not even taking my pins out yet.
Well, because.
Now, what's happening when I'm doing that, Brent?
You're gluing the fabric together because it's fusible thread.
And is it moving anywhere?
It has not gone anywhere.
Can it go anywhere?
No, it's
I'm
pinned.
going right up to those pins that are straight down into my wool mat. And when I'm done, and I think I've done either side, I'm just taking that pin out, giving it one more shot.
It's a lot of work on making that look nice.
I know.
It's a lot of work to pull them out when they're not right. I'm not letting you do this, finally.
I was gonna say, I don't
Can
even
you
want
put-
to run
Can you
that.
put the regular thread back in?
Yep.
This is another reason I would chain, because now I've got to put my regular bobbin in. So if I had, like you do on the background, people, you have a zillion to do. I would glue line, seriously, with my sewing machine, glue line one side of the things. 'Cause the other side you're going to glue
Are you
two.
gonna want a pedal?
I thought I took out my pedal.
Oh, there's a pedal right over here. I'll
You're
grab
gonna
it real
make
quick.
me, I can probably do it, Brent. I'll just go slow. I can handle it, Brent.
Well, I got a pedal right here.
Some of my background stuff now, help me all
Will you? So now I'm a pinner, so I'm still gonna pin my beginning and end when there is no glue. But you know what, you don't have to if you're not a pinner. You don't have to. You don't really need it, but look at how I'm all, and, actually I should have showed this. If I really want to see what it looks like before I go to my sewing machine, if Brent had put the glue line where I told him to, you could actually, he's kind of too high up on some of it and not quite straight.
Yeah.
You could actually open this up and see your seam line before you head to your sewing machine. So if it's not right, you just,
Back that up. What did you just say?
you just pull it apart and try again. If you had stitched where I told you to stitch with the 1/4 inch foot,
Yeah.
right on those lines,
Yeah.
when I glue this together, I'm making my seam with glue.
Yeah,
So I can look, open it up, and I can say, oh yeah, I'm exactly on. Or I'm not on, and I just tear it apart and glue it again. But you were a little high, so when I...
so, yeah, so checking
So
this
when
is
I'm
gonna be off a
checking
little
now,
bit.
I don't know if Eddie can see this. I know this point isn't right here, but I also know your glue line
Yeah,
was higher.
off a little bit, yeah.
He wasn't straight, people.
Oh, I know.
So, but if you had been,
Is that what she said?
I would know now. I would know now before I went to my sewing machine that I wasn't gonna like it. But I have faith. I didn't hear it. I do like it when you joke around. I didn't hear, oh, I want to put my pin back in because I'm a pinner. I'm a pinner, not a sinner. Mm-hmm.
Are you sure about that?
But do you remember when I first put this down, though, there was some give and take? It wasn't exactly sized right. Did y'all notice that? I had a little give and take. Look what's all better. And if, hey you, if I'm sewing this, and I can sew from this side too if I want. Oh, here's a good example of his stitching wasn't quite on. See how this is,
So you could sew.
oh, okay.
I'm not.
Thought you were doing stuff back there.
No, I'm
See how this line doesn't match the glue line? That's why I meant I couldn't test it quite right because he wasn't right where he needed to be. He was a little high. No problem. When I go to sew this, again, I know there's a 1/4 inch foot on that machine. That's a rule, but it's not the stone, okay? I need to hit these lines. These are the lines that are telling me where the critical points are. Sometimes when you cut your fabric, one's a little too high or too low. I don't care when I get to hear what that foot says. I need to roll over those lines. That's what counts. Nobody's going to look on the back side of your quilt, except Becky, to make sure those lines are exact. They're going to look at the front side, and they're going to eye your beautiful points.
Yeah, don't
Get out of my way, Brent.
I was helping you out.
What were you doing?
I turned on your guidelines so that you can bridge the gap between your two
Oh,
lines.
well, but a lot of people don't have these guidelines.
I understand that, but because you do, we're going to turn it on.
Okay, all right. So as I'm sewing, he put the fancy laser on, for those who have a Luminaire.
And you can kind of see it on the screen. That
This
that green line.
represents what I'm shooting for as I'm coming down. It should be right where my needle's going to hit. I always double check because I don't trust these, that's okay. So
I'm a glue sniffer.
I'm coming to this line. I'm
That's
lined
what
up with
she
my
said.
1/4 inch foot right now, but what I'm looking, oh, I moved it. What I'm looking at is this pencil line that we all know I said was right, correct?
And we know that Becky is always right, so
No,
therefore,
no, Becky isn't always right.
we can pretend for the night.
perfectly imperfect.
I am, I love that. Oh my goodness. it's just
Brent
like-
has no idea what that means. He doesn't
Okay, now
know
see how I'm coming to that line?
I
Now,
read some of
I
them.
have a laser, so I'm pushing my laser so it's going right over that thing. But if you didn't, you're going to use your eyeballs, which is frankly what I do, is I use my eyeballs. But Brent's like, see how, Brent, is this showing that, see how that's a little bit over?
Do you ever
I
watch it-
don't trust you
you ever
behind
watch-
me.
You ever watch
I do
Adventure
not
Time?
trust you behind me, I'm just
You ever watch
saying.
Adventure Time with the Lumpy Space Princess?
No.
Oh, my balls are burning. Oh, my eyeballs are burning.
Okay, I'm coming up to another pencil line. I'm lining up with the pencil line, people, not the 1/4 inch foot, the pencil line. Is anybody even listening to
I'm
me?
watching
At
you.
some point, I will watch you and listen. Right now, I'm laughing.
John wants to know if Brent is high because he inhaled the glue line.
Well, he
Good
did say-
possibility.
Phew, I made it to the end!
Yay!
All right, now the magic happens. Hey,
The
and if you
pins come
haven't
out.
come pick these up,
We have a bunch of them.
and you're doing open seams,
Thank you for that.
you need one of these. This is a game changer. Makes life so much easier. It's like putting,
It's like butter.
Like butter.
now I'm gonna have more hard time opening this because
Oh,
Brent's
my eye.
glue line was a little shabby. Oh my God.
Oh,
Your glue line was a little shabby here, so I have struggles. I might have to melt it again.
the struggle box, pulling into a stop.
Welcome to Brent.
I don't know.
Thursday, one of those weeks.
Why isn't that coming
See, when you're
apart?
struggling with that, I'll recount my week. My Monday started out, I was gonna change brake lines on
Oh,
a Jeep.
by the way, regarding sorry to interrupt you, but not, I'm gonna have to melt that, my lord. Regarding fusible thread, it is temporary. It is not permanent, okay, so keep that in mind. It will not hold up through the wash.
So my Labor Day story was, I started,
I have one more thing to say about fusible thread, then you can do your Labor Day
okay, I
story.
just thought I would do it while you were
Brenda
struggling.
said, Becky, I don't understand how that's gonna work on the way I do binding. And I said, huh, Brent, you really glued this high. There we go, phew. Normally, I don't have to do this, because I sewed it right to start with,
That's what you get when,
but I was nice.
you knew what you were getting when you gave it to me to sew it.
See,
You were
my
just
little
like-
glue pops right open, this glue does not. This glue is much stronger,
Hardier. It's a
hardier.
hardier glue.
And now I'm like ripping and tearing
That's
again.
the glue made from Clydesdales versus the weak ponies.
Okay, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna iron it. I'm just gonna get going on it, because we're running out of time. All right, so another thing, so Brenda says, Becky, I don't understand how that's gonna work, because this is how I do my binding. And I said, oh, well, Brenda, it's not gonna work for you. I did some trial and error stuff. It is not gonna work for you, Brenda.
Okay,
Because Brenda doesn't catch her back binding when she does her front stitching.
that's right.
She brings her front stitching a good 1/4 inch past the back binding and actually stitches into the back of the quilt instead of the binding. Well, if I've used fusible thread, I am now going to have the back binding that could fall off
Yes.
because there's no stitching in it. So if you follow Brenda's way of binding and, oh my God, I can't get that seam open, Brenda, and do it her way and don't catch the back binding when you do the front binding, don't use fusible thread because it's not going to work. I cannot get this open. What did you do?
Well, Jean asked a really good question. If you iron it open, will the glue that I put in the wrong spot get on the iron?
Oh, I must have had a bobbin machine. No, because I have a Teflon iron.
Is that the side you started on or finished on?
I don't know now, but maybe that's what's wrong here. We didn't get the whole seam all fixed that way. It's like I didn't get thread at the end. I don't know if it's where it began or it finished, but it's not pretty.
I don't know where we started or ended tonight. so-
Okay, I finally got it. But no, there'll be no glue on here. Most of your irons do have a Teflon, just not as nice and even as this one. But there's a minuscule amount of glue anyway, and it melts. So it's not like it's gonna leave a bunch of residue anywhere. It just disappears. It melts away. So I would not be worried about my iron. Are we ready for the reveal?
What review? Oh, yeah.
Don't look at this because I didn't finish sewing that for some reason, but look at our points.
Beautiful.
Those
Almost
are
like,
hard points.
almost like you knew what you were doing.
Those are hard points, because there
I-
was nothing to line up over here. There was a line here, but there wasn't here. And truthfully, I'm staring at that, and I would definitely take that in a smidgen more. And if you look, I didn't quite hit the line. That's how accurate
That's because
those
you were
Oh.
sewing standing up.
And you're
Probably.
and
I
you're
am off,
so
I'm
adamant.
off by a thread
Yeah.
on this line. I am right on this one. And guess what? That's what it looks like to me. I'm off a little bit on that one. I
Oh my
would end up
God.
ripping
It
that
must have
out.
been you he was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I'm not gonna not have that point be something I'm proud of. Look at, I'm so careful with my points. It's not
I'm-
bad though.
Okay.
It's not like.
I'm
oh
not even
my
looking at the
God.
points.
From
What I'm
here.
looking at, which I am thoroughly impressed by, what I'm just, my mind is blown by right now, is how all those stripes go in the right direction. I don't even care about the points. The fact that those stripes are going the right way.
Well, they have to.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
Oh, they wouldn't if they was mine.
I imagine
It's
there's,
supposed to show movement.
I imagine there's a few of them out there, those stripes are going. Anyway,
Anyway, I have fusible thread. Basically, you're making a basting line, and then you're using it as glue.
I will try.
It's,
Fusible thread. We will have it.
I am sold on it for my bodice. And when if you finally get it in
We
the
will get
smaller
it.
size, I can't wait to try it.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna call A tomorrow. Hey, hook
Am
me
I
up.
water soluble? Please. All right, well, that's all.
Okay,
Happy points. And
Well,
you roll mats,
yes, well, Matt.
pinning,
Wow, what did I?
nice and firm.
Looks like you have lipstick on there.
I know, and I got a little bit of scruff going, that
It's
artistic.
lighting. It's your lighting.
It's the
Oh,
lighting.
we're late, Brent.
I know we're
Yeah.
late.
I didn't know we were
Why do we think we're having so much
That's why I
fun?
was doing this.
late. Oh, I didn't even
Anyway,
see that. I
so
was
we're
busy
running
looking
late.
at points.
And like
What
that
is
awesome
this?
hair.
How much does this cost in the store?
I want to say it's $15.95.
I'll look it
Oh, definitely.
It's under $20, I can tell you that.
This is really for opening seam, and you see, I've got all my seams open.
Yes.
Anyway.
Anyway, I should probably take us out.
Okay, take it.
Okay, here we go. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Shenanigans with Brent and Becky. Join us again next week. I have no idea what we're going to do, but thank you for joining
Neither
us.
do I.
Hope you all enjoyed it. Be excellent. So on and be excellent to each other. Thanks.